Hello.
Hello.
This is probably the hardest episode we've ever had to record. Do you know why?
Because I'm sober.
No.
No. All right.
What?
Cool. That's an incidental
Why are you
issue.
sober? No, it's because I've fallen out of obsession with coronavirus. For a while there, like, I go through phases. I think we can all remember my Michael Jackson phase, my River Phoenix phase. Like, I go through phases for sure, right?
Yes.
Do you remember any other phases?
Just those two.
Freddie Mercury. For a minute, I had a mustache. But yeah, I think for a while, I was like refreshing every day, like obsessively watching the news. Like it felt so all-consuming. And I think it was like that for a lot of people. And I guess we were all going through this at different times. But I don't give a shit anymore. Like, is this even a thing?
Yes. Well, I think as the coronavirus hipsters of Australia, we were on board before anyone else thought it was cool. And
now everyone thinks
so
it's cool.
we've been, yeah, we don't want to be in anymore. Everyone's into coronavirus.
God, I really wish
now.
we didn't call this channel social distancing.
Well, we'll just maintain distance socially from everyone in our
yeah,
lives.
we were doing that anyway.
Yeah, it's still an excuse to never go outside and see anyone. But yeah, for a while there was a real immediacy. It was like, holy shit, it's the shit is viral show, and everything was chaos and stuff, and it was all happening. And
It was your worst nightmares. Like usually my anxiety, you get to be like, it's not that bad. But it was like every day my anxiety was affirmed.
And I felt like a fucking idiot because at first you were like, oh my God, we should start buying cans of beans. I'm like, nah, it's not that big a deal. It's no big deal. It's no worse than the flu. It's no worse than Ebola. And then obviously thousands and thousands and thousands of people died. And I came on board and bought all the beans.
We have a wall of beans.
Yeah, and
I
then
don't even like beans.
it never got so you couldn't buy beans. So we're just going to be working our way through those fuckers for the rest of our lives.
Do you think there's like it's not ethical, but it does feel like all that build up and then at least in this country, it's kind of anticlimactic. Now, obviously, the caveat of that is that, not as much death. Obviously, it's super incredibly sad for the people who have died, but it does feel like for the the amount of feelings that were had.
If this were Coronavirus the movie, I would feel like everything just kind of petered out in the second act. I'm like, really, where I should have been in the situation where I walk out the front door and there's just corpses everywhere.
Not that you want
everyone's
corpses.
dead. Hey, someone else from school died today. And it just, I mean, what are the current infection numbers in Australia? It was like 12,000 or something?
No, it still hasn't cracked 7.
Ha!
Yeah.
Pull your act together, Australia.
However, I think is this an issue with what's the word, like narrativization? Like things aren't a story. This is not a story. It's real life. It's good that it hasn't kicked off. It's good that we flattened the curve. So what is this weird, stupid feeling where you kind of like, oh man.
Is it about vindication?
No.
You think that we took it seriously and I bought supplies and I went and did grocery runs in a hazmat suit, and then all those people I saw at the shops while doing my groceries, they're all still alive. And frankly, you guys are making me look like a complete asshole.
Did you see that incredible graph? I sent it to you, I think, earlier, but I'll put it up on the screen here. As the efforts start working and the curve is flattened, we are getting precariously close to the see it wasn't so bad, we overreacted phase.
So our sacrifice has been minimal. I think we'd be more pissy if we'd, oh my God, we sold everything and bought a bunker in the countryside and we moved there.
I think that's the
And we
thing.
killed our pets and we went and we lived in a hole in the ground and then the world didn't even end. And I feel like it's just Y2K all over again, and I feel like a giant tit. It hasn't looked like footage coming out of Wuhan. It hasn't looked like Italy looked, where they were like, what the hell do we do with all these bodies? And it hasn't looked like the unmitigated disaster that has been the American response. Which
is good, which is ultimately good. So
it is good, but the consequence of that is we haven't learnt our lesson. But were we ever going to anyway?
That's a good question. If you look at history, probably not.
Like the whole
Or at
fucking
least-
country caught fire earlier this year and
What-
didn't stop them from mining coal.
We seem to learn these lessons, these giant history lessons for like 2 generations max, and then we're just like, ah. So we're well due for a new lesson. We're so fortunate that we've never really been through anything on this scale of a trauma or collective experience before. And it got me to thinking about how, do you ever read history books and realize like, oh, this film or this art movement or whatever was created at the same time as like World War I, World War II, like whatever. And you're just like, how? Weren't they preoccupied with the war? And yeah, for a good chunk of it that they were, and these things are in response to that. But life, like there's 24 hours in a day.
You acclimatise.
Yeah, you kind of get used to it. I think we're in that weird phase now of just like, okay, well, you know, I can't go outside, but like life goes on. I'd really like to see my friends, but at the same time, like there's more to come. So I think it's given me a perspective on just how you really do get used to the new normal. And once that's arrived, you kind of just get on with it.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you think people in war zones aren't like farting on their mates and sending each other pics of their dicks and
Farts
stuff like
are
that?
always funny.
Like,
It's a
that's
human
still...
Yeah.
You still, like, unless you're massively traumatized, you still function and stay alive and do stuff. And there's, you know, as long as there's a digital world, there'll always be memes coming out of it.
As long as there's memes.
So I guess what we're saying is, in this curve-flattened world, to our government, if you really want us to keep taking this seriously, you have to start killing citizens. I think I would start maybe with our prison populations. I would just go around with a hot cup of coronavirus and throw it in everyone's face. I attribute any other natural death, any car accident, coronavirus. He went and crashed, coronavirus killed him. I think we need bodies on the ground to keep us galvanized behind the curve. So hop to it.
Please don't advocate for death.
If you want us to take it seriously, you have to make it serious. And for it to be serious, we need more death. And here's what I'm suggesting. Obviously, you don't want to spread coronavirus far and wide to screw up the curve thing. So you need to pick certain prominent, famous Australians and have them die of coronavirus. Magda Szubanski. I think Paul Kelly's an excellent thing. I think they've got to come from both sides of the aisle as well. So Alan Jones, John Laws, I'm really sorry, but your time has come. Time to lay down your life for our country. And, you know, then I think we can all sort of get behind this.
You sound like a guy from InfoWars.
Yeah, that's me, Alex Jones, yelling at people. You have to take it seriously.
Why is he a ham?
I don't know. I think he's just so outraged that he's swollen and inflamed on a molecular level.
Oh.
See that photo when they photoshopped tits on him, but they kept the hair on them? That looked awesome.
Let's put that video here. That can be the end of this section of our video.
All right.
Whoa.
It's beginning. Like, share, subscribe, quick!